Hi, this is Laura McCafferty with CEWD, and we're speaking today with Robert McCalister, who is an electrical engineer at JEA. So I want you, Robert, to tell us, first of all, what type of an electrical engineer are you? What do you do?
Yeah, I'm an electrical engineer, and then that's very broad. So more specifically, I specialize in the design and project management of high-voltage electric substations. This is sometimes known as a substation engineer. A substation engineer can be thought of as a subset of power engineering, which is a further subset of the very broad electrical engineering.
Terrific. And what inspired you to want to become an engineer?
Well, I really kind of limited myself to three choices. It was either doctor, lawyer, or engineer. Initially, my decision for electrical engineering was loosely based on an interest in computers and car stereo equipment. After taking some physics and chemistry in high school, I knew I had to do something scientific, which somewhat eliminated doctor or lawyer, not to say that those aren't scientific in their fields. But also civil or structural engineering was a close second for me. I've always admired roadway projects and bridges. But, you know, on the other hand, parts of my job also require that I have some legal knowledge, so I've tended to become a small part lawyer as well throughout my career here.
Interesting. And what type of post-secondary education was required for you to get the position you have now?
The minimum requirement for most engineering positions is a bachelor's degree. Most schools typically require about 4.5 years to complete this by requiring a few extra classes beyond a quote-unquote typical four-year degree. For example, my college required 132 credit hours, whereas a normal four-year degree requires 120, so it's about an extra semester. A master's degree can usually be substituted for a year of work experience in the industry, but is not required for any engineering job at my company. And regarding a PhD, I haven't really seen a benefit to obtaining one unless one plans to become a college professor or to simply a personal goal. In some cases, a PhD may start out anywhere from 5 to 10% higher as far as pay goes than a bachelor's degree. But in my opinion, the opportunity cost of lost wages to the engineer by entering the workforce 3 or 4 years late, in addition to the cost of the degree, kind of does not support the PhD as an economic decision, just for anybody who is thinking about that.
So the position you have right now, having a bachelor's degree is sufficient?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, with that little add-on of extra credit hours that you said?
Yes, correct. And that's, that's the school will tell you all that, and, they'll tell you what's required.
Okay. What does a substation engineer specifically do for your company?
I'll just go ahead and explain some basics first to give you kind of a background, and then I'll answer more specifically so that our listeners understand, have an idea of what I do. Basically, high voltage transmission lines bring power from power generating stations to substations where the power is transformed to a lower voltage and then sent to businesses and homes. A substation actually gets its name from being called a sub-generation station. So my job requires that I design the modification, repair, and upgrade of existing and construction of new high voltage electric substations. Basically, a few departments within my company determine the what, where, when, and why of the jobs that need to be done. My boss determines the who. He tells me to do it, and then it is then my job to determine how the new substation is to be constructed.
Terrific. And what do you like best about your job?
I love the large scale of the projects, which includes the large physical and financial scales, as well as the responsibility. Comprehending the fact that I'm directly in charge and responsible for spending millions of dollars per year is pretty amazing to me. Also, the feeling at the end of the project of seeing the lines that were drawn on paper and the decisions that I made throughout, the 2 years I had the project, or 2 or 3 years I had the project, when seeing that come to fruition as a large physical implementation, seeing that is something you can really appreciate, and that's, I really enjoy that about my job.
It must be very satisfying to you.
Oh, yeah.
Why would you recommend that young people today consider engineering as a career?
Well, engineering, especially in the power industry, is a field with ever-increasing need. And really, there's a perfect storm of opportunity brewing for engineers that desire to come into this field. A basic synopsis of the need is underscored by the fact that a majority of the current utility industry is nearing retirement age, and an industry-wide hiring gap between the retirement age engineers and younger engineers has created an increasing demand in this field. For our particular company, 15% of our engineers can retire today. They can walk out the door and say, that we're done working. 39% of our engineering workforce can retire within the next 5 years, and 42% of this workforce, or of our workforce, has experienced less than 10 years. So that's created kind of like this hiring freeze gap between the older generation and the younger generation, which about 21% of our workforce has experienced a mid-range, like from 10 to 20 years. So this is a large trend across the power industry, and supply and demand economics have the potential to drive the pay of these engineers significantly. And considering the life and death implications of our jobs, I think we deserve it. So,
so the jobs are there, and they pay well.
Yeah, definitely. So, and they have the potential to pay more, which is always a good thing. So, but also in addition to the what I call the self-induced industry demand, not hiring for 10 years, the demand for energy continues to grow. And aside from the increase in energy demand, the demand for cleaner and/or renewable energy, that's a broad new aspect to this industry. So, as government subsidies increase, the research progresses, and new technologies come alive, there's going to be many new fields of specialization, which, in my opinion, will be unique to the power industry, which undoubtedly creates many opportunities for these budding power engineers. So,
well, thank you so much. As well said.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.